Supermarkets in America were never, ever prepared for supply chain shortages. And as time goes on, this is going to become a major problem. So, yes, you have the pandemic, and also weather has been a major factor with storms just getting worse. So, wow. So, this supply chain issue that is happening right now is going to go on for quite some time. So, we're talking about food, cars, clothing, household appliances, and so much more. Unfortunately, just like a supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link, a supply chain can become inefficient or fall apart if there's even a slight hiccup. This is especially so when the supply chains overlap in so many ways, and it's more of a supply knot than a supply chain. Consumers may already be starting to feel the more disparaging terms are more appropriate. If retailers are reporting rising costs for holiday returns, and the Federal Trade Commission has launched an inquiry into the number of supermarket chains, retailers, and food corporations to get to the bottom of the seemingly endless product shortages. Based on this reporter's own journey to a pair of local retail outlets, including Walmart and Target, it is noted that customer complaints seem to fall on three major categories: electronics, like video game consoles and VR headsets; frozen food items, like chicken wings and pizza; and sanitary products, toilet paper. Each of the items has a series of interconnected supply chains, from the food themselves to the added ingredients, because remember, there's also an ingredient shortage. This is why many restaurants are removing certain foods from their menus now. The menus are getting shorter. All right. And the packaging, not to mention the in the case of frozen items. Yes, so sometimes they may have the food, but they don't have the packaging. That's very true. Extra care taken for transportation and storage. It is literally impossible to map the origin of every single item used in every single one, much less plug all of that into data into one central database for reference. This means that when a major disruptive event occurs across the planet, this delicate and interconnected web of chains can be easily disrupted in countless untraceable ways. And we know firsthand the pandemic has been the most disrupted worldwide. It has disrupted every segment of the earth at this point in time. And other countries are also going through the supply chain shortage. So this is global. The global economy is a complex system of national and local economies. Christina Court, an assistant professor of regional economics at the University of Florida, told Salon by email, the pandemic brought about an abrupt halt to major economic sectors across the planet, and which of itself had a ripple effect on countless smaller business transactions. Not all of these could simply wind back up once the lockdowns were reversed. Even then, the reversals often did not immediately allow a full restoration of economic activity. Yeah, it never came back. Never ever came back fully. And this is why America is still in a big struggle right now. And many times were applied so erratically that they would wound up being integrated into the business environment. By now, we are all familiar with the term pandemic induced supply chain disruptions. Okay, whereby the evolution of the pandemic itself, as well as the policy responses to the pandemic, shutdowns and stay at home orders, mandates, have resulted in massive shifts in supply and or demand for many products and sectors. Mm-mm-mm. When it comes down to food-based supply chains, they're saying that climate change is another factor, a major culprit, and that it's very difficult to quantify, unlike other economic sectors where there can disruptions can come from the demand in as well as the supply in. People never decide they had enough food. They may, of course, alter their dietary preferences. Yeah, you're gonna have to if there's less items for you to find. When there are supply chain issues, it is usually because of some unwanted outside variable has made it more difficult for those who produce food to do their job. Warming temperatures, yeah, we sure saw that this past summer, especially with those burnt up Christmas trees and the drought and people dying from the heat waves in Oregon and Washington state and states that normally don't see those kind of triple digit temperatures. So they said the heat waves impacted the corn yields and also Michigan cherries. As weather continues to warm, crops that depend on precise temperatures at specific times will be thrown off kilter or possibly wiped out. That's what happened to the peppermint. That's exactly when I did that video on the peppermint candy. That's exactly what happened. The peppermint crop did not yield as well in a lot of the places that got hit with heat waves. So now there's a shortage. It's not just about the candy, but it's about any products that require peppermint. There's going to be a shortage now. The crops just didn't do well. Okay, so they're talking about how, more and more plants will ultimately be harmed by droughts and floods that will harm so many other crops. Major drought in California or freezing temperatures in Florida can throw a wrench in this market. It sure can. And if y'all remember, Brazil is going through a coffee shortage. And a lot of the coffees that come here to America comes out of South America. So that's another big major thing. Now, they're saying, if these different droughts and floods and everything keep occurring, you could be looking at a dramatic reduced supply of oranges from those regions. While oranges can be produced in other areas, acquiring them is much more expensive, especially if the supply chains are not already established and prepared for, larger volumes. And they said another factor that can disrupt the supply chain is power, problems with power. Wow. I just don't see this clearing up anytime soon. I don't think it's going to be cleared up at all. As long as you don't have enough people working out here to, empty out those shipping containers that are at ports, as long as you don't have enough workers to drive the supplies from point A to point B, and you don't have enough employees in the stores to unload the trucks, you, you're going to be looking at a problem for a very, very long time. And, I did a few articles previously, and the economists were saying that these supply chain shortages will persist on all through 2022. So, y'all, you're going to have another hurricane season, and tornadoes are going to continue on. And it just seems like the storms are definitely intensifying. And that can't be good for any crop when it comes down to food. But, y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.